Snow White review. Take one.
Hi, welcome to the Two Takes podcast. I'm Pat.
And I'm Brandon.
Today we're gonna. I'm sorry. I just need to say something real quick. When we were setting up, we used your laptop today, and I saw your Google search history. You had to look up the meanings of the dwarf names. I was just a little confused. What part did you not get?
Well, different words have different cultural contexts,
But bashful can only really mean one thing. What did you need to understand about that? Or sleepy?
Hey man, you don't need to get sleepy with it, okay?
Well, right there, you kind of that isn't really where that word fits in. So I was just what about the words like happy? Do you know what happy is?
Listen, we're just gonna have to agree to disagree, okay?
Okay, yeah, no, yeah. We'll start over. How about that?
Snow White review. Take two.
Hi, welcome to the Two Takes podcast. I am Patrick.
And I am Brandon.
Brandon, how you doing? How you coming?
Okay, decent.
Coming
decent
okay?
way.
Coming decent?
Yeah.
Feeling good?
Yeah.
Feeling limber? Yeah. We had some technical difficulties because Mike the Pod God has forsaken us. We are a godless people today.
Godless podcast. Godless pod.
A godless pod. Yeah, it is. It's scary, but we're here and we're persevering through it. And we're talking about Snow White. It's weird. I always give the rundown. One of us always gives the rundown of the movie that we're doing, but
Snow White.
it's Snow White. I don't know.
Kind of the same.
If you don't know
Mostly the same.
If you don't know what Snow White is, I don't know what to tell you. So tell us the hard part. Tell us about everybody that's in it.
Oh, well, we got Rachel Ziegler in it,
Yep.
and we have Gal Gadot, who's acting apparently.
Oh my God, that is Gal Gadot. That's great.
Yeah, and a bunch of other people I do not know.
Yeah.
But directed by Mark Webb,
Yeah. Who did?
director of 500 Days of Summer and
The Amazing Spider-Man.
Spider-Mans.
Yeah, 1 and 2, right?
Yep,
It was nice to see his name pop back up.
it was. Even if he was just kind of like a goon director, like a lot of people bought on for Disney films.
Yeah, he's they don't put from director Mark Webb in front of a lot of. But
I feel like Mark Webb requested that. I feel like a lot of directors you don't need to say that. It's not a film by me.
They're like, hey, Mark Webb, just relax. We don't need to do all that.
These are just one for them kind of movies,
Yeah. What did you think about Snow White, Brandon? Wait, before we get into that, what are we drinking on?
Yes.
What'd you set up here?
Pretty proud of this one today. I made this. Usually Mike handles the drinks, but this is called the Poison Apple. Essentially, it's a take on a whiskey sour. Whiskey sour usually has whiskey, simple syrup, lemon, egg white, but essentially I apple-fied it. Used apple Crown Royal. I made an apple and cinnamon simple syrup. Pretty easy to make, which is just equal parts water and sugar. Boil it, and you can put in some apples and cinnamon. That's how you make any kind of flavored simple syrup, by the way. Then lemon, bitters, and then instead of a classic rabbit ear twist, which is usually orange and lemon, got a slice of Granny Smith and Macintosh.
Yeah, this one was actually really, really good. Not that they're all really good, but this one particularly I thought was fantastic. So good job, Brandon.
Thank you.
Well done. I was looking forward to this. As we were trying to set up the audio and everything like that, I kept looking. I'm like, man, it's going to be good as hell as soon as we start.
Yeah, well, funny this is a good transition into what I thought about the movie, because originally, for a joke, we were just our drink was gonna be the Seven Dwarves, and it was just gonna be 7 shots of some kind of liquor that we were just gonna progressively shoot throughout the review. And then as we progressively got angrier, but this really wasn't that bad. That being said, it was I mean, it's if you've seen a lot of these live action remakes and you're like, these aren't really for me, this will not change your mind. This is very much in that same vein.
Yes. This wasn't that bad, but it was still bad. It was still hold on, we're gonna pause for a second. I just want to check something. I'm sorry, guys.
You can't really hear it through like the headphones, which I wish I could.
No, you're good. I just wanted to make sure the noise gate was on. I couldn't remember if I set it up.
Yeah, let's make sure it's actually like.
Yeah, it's on. Okay. Okay. The noise gate wasn't on for yours, but now it is.
Was the noise gate just what picks up
Noise gate
background?
Is, picks up background. So if you have it on, it's not going to pick up background. So I just threw that on. I couldn't remember if it was on for both.
Nice.
Also, the window's opened by Brandon. I can't. I wish I could hear.
Do you see it? Do you see it being picked up?
Not right now.
Okay. We should be okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick it up with me talking about like how I felt about it. Cool. So it wasn't that bad. Like I really expected to just come on and shit all over this.
Yeah.
And it's not a worth shitting all over movie, but at the end of the day, it's like a why. Why did we need to do this movie?
Yeah,
And that's kind of how I felt about it.
Because it's mostly the same. There are some changes in like the story and like the context. It's a half an hour longer, and mostly just like with all these remakes, it's like it's mostly the same, but like it feels padded out.
Yeah. Well, they had to because the original Snow White and the Seven Dwarves was probably what, like an hour and some change, maybe like an hour 12, hour 15.
It's like an hour 20.
Okay, so they definitely had to stretch it out, and they were like, "Hey, Gal Gadot, just go crazy, just go wild."
But here's the thing: every single one of these that comes out proves that no, you don't need to stretch it out. It's actually amazing, and to the credit of these old movies and why they're classics, that they're an hour and a half, less than an hour and a half, but like they're all so iconic and they feel much bigger and much grander and much longer and much more, you know, epic than they should.
Yeah, I think this movie is the strongest when it's Snow White and the dwarves hanging out. I think when they really got into that pocket and she shows up at the cabin, she's singing songs with them, Whistle While You Work, which I do. I didn't notice a dwarf hitting the gritty. You told me to look out for that.
I think a dwarf may have hit the gritty.
Was it when Dopey was
song.
on the table?
I think it was when they were all like kind of like line dancing at the end.
Okay.
One of them just kind of hit the gritty.
Man, I was really looking for that and I couldn't find it.
Maybe a crip walk in there too.
But I think that and what I was most afraid of, I'm like, this is going to be a CGI mess, just uncanny valley and just gross looking and just too smooth. And in a way, it kind of it is all of those things, but it works in some spots of the movie, like when she's hanging out with the dwarves. I think all of that looked really pretty. They kind of have this like golden like aura that's happening around them, and I thought that looked really pretty. And I was like, you know what, this does kind of feel like it has that Disney magic. And I'm kind of a Disney chill because I worked at Disney during college, so anytime I hear the it gets me a little bit. And I did kind of feel that here,
for sure.
especially during when I think Snow White, I think her and the dwarves hanging out in the cabin, you know, and
yeah,
and that's what I liked about it. Everything else, I was just kind of waiting for it to end.
I'm gonna slightly disagree with you there.
Finally, we're disagreeing on stuff.
Yeah. Well, in the sense that I actually kind of didn't hate the romance.
Really?
But here's the weird thing. So like I don't know, because I think that the main guy that they got to play that Jonathan, I think he did a good job. That was like the one. His like was the one original song that I actually kind of like remember.
Okay, so what songs were original and what? I know like "Whistle While You Work" and "Off to Work We Go" are originals, but I can't.
I think it was "Whistle While You Work" and then "Hi Ho" might have been the only ones.
Yeah, I haven't seen Snow White in years and years, so I
think,
kept watching and being like, what's original, what's not original here?
But they were like, I mean, there were 10. There were like probably 10 songs.
Yeah,
it's hard to tell because there was like a lot of like the songs kept like coming back and like being like remixed and like you kind of like putting the songs together. Like the villain song came back. the town song at the end came back,
Yeah.
or that the beginning came back at the end.
Yeah, that's all new stuff, right?
Yeah.
I imagine so. Because it didn't have the same feel as hi ho, and that was just really working for me, and I kind of like settled in. Because right before that, there was a scene. I guess that's spoilers, so I'll save that for later. But
I mean, how long do we want to go without spoilers, man? I don't really know what else. Okay, well, okay. As far as like,
oh, I did real quick. I think I had the misfortune, or not misfortune, of I watched Wicked right before the Oscars, so that was like 3 weeks ago where I watched that, and I think that doing the like me kind of like with Wicked still being kind of fresh in my memory, I don't think that did Snow White any favors.
for sure.
For Magical Land musical, I was like, man, like Wicked did this better. The singing was better, the songs were better, the choreography was better, the directing was better, like, and I couldn't get that out of my head watching a lot of this.
Yeah, I will say that, like,
have you seen Wicked yet?
I haven't. I really need to, though. I think it came out on Peacock today. I think it was March 21st.
Yeah, I think
today.
Yeah, it was March 21st.
That's when we're recording this. But so going back to the dwarves, I think I'm a little mixed about them because like they kind of look like Uncanny Valley.
They look like shit.
A little creepy. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing though. You know, they look like what I think we all thought Polar Express looked like back in 2006.
Okay.
But because it's like they're uncanny, but like if you watch Polar Express today, like everything looks really, really smooth and like plasticky. And I think the actual like, even though the design of the dwarves is kind of creepy, like their skin looks like really good, like all the textures look good, and like them and the animals, even though they don't look real, I think that the way that they interact with objects and the way that the light goes off of them, it makes them look not bad. Like I really don't think they look terrible. And like the sound design when like they would all, like when she's like walking to the house, like I was like looking at all the animals and like interacting with things. Like there's just like a lot of detail there, and it's just like a lot of work. I can tell a lot of work was put into that, and it felt natural.
And I think it's good that they kind of went with more of a zany look to them. Maybe I don't know what I was expecting. Super realistic looking dwarves. Obviously, that's silly. Yeah, and like I said, the dwarves were I think my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah, but which isn't, because like they definitely kind of.
Did I get that wrong? Was that like, were they cutting the dwarves out like originally? Like
well, because the other thing the other issue that I have is that they definitely cut the dwarves. There's less of the dwarves than I would have wanted.
You want more dwarf,
which is weird because like, and maybe it feels like there's way more of the dwarves in the original, which is half an hour. Shorter.
Yeah.
And I think it has a lot to do with like their involvement in the ending.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess we'll get to in spoilers. But
what did you think of, what was the lead's name? What was her
Rachel
name?
Ziegler?
Yeah, what did you think
She's
of
good.
her? Yeah.
I think she's good. I think she was probably she's the best actor in the movie.
Yeah,
and I think she can sing very well. She's good in the musical stuff.
Yeah, I think the most important thing for a Snow White is to really believe like this is the greatest person that ever lived. You know what I'm saying? And just like what, like this, everybody instantly falls in love with her, and I think she kind of does.
Yeah,
I think she does have that charm, and I think she does.
Yeah, and I never got on that whole hate bandwagon of her. Like I'm just like, because I
didn't really see that much of it, so
it all made sense too. Because I'm like, well, she was in West Side Story, right? And people like that one. I think that was her like big breakout role.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and which I hear is really, really good.
I do need to check out West Side Story.
Spielberg movie.
Yeah,
which I'm like, dang, bro made a musical.
Yeah, you didn't see The Fabelmans either, did you?
No, I didn't.
You got to
catch up on my Spielberg.
You really do need to catch up on your Spielberg.
You catch up on a lot of things, though, to be honest.
Next time you're sick, have a sick Spielberg marathon.
And then I'll be like, that was sick.
That was sick.
And so am I.
Yeah.
And Schindler's List. That was sick.
It's gonna be a very rare like subset of the Two Takes podcast where it's just you sick watching Spielberg movies.
Just in real time.
In real time, yeah.
It's a commentary track.
It's a comment. No, all you say is it's sick at the end of it. It's just you watching a Spielberg movie, and then at the end of being, that was sick.
Yeah.
And then you just move on to the next one.
Gal Gadot fucking sucks in this movie.
Yeah, she was
fucking-
she was making some choices, man. She was making some choices. I didn't know that there's a lot of hate going on with her online now too.
There is, but I'm like, oh, there's some stuff with, her acting ability, but also like some like a certain conflict going on that I don't even want to touch with a 10-foot pole.
That's fair.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but
Well, hey, like, what is she supposed to do? She's playing literally the evil queen in Snow White. Like, of course she's gonna be like, how do you do that and not be slightly over the top with your performance?
be a good actor. Like have good delivery. Like feel like you care. Feel like you weren't just cast because you were like really famous in the zeitgeist currently. Like there's so many other actors that could like, pick any other actress her age. They would have done a better job, and that's just. Also, it's like it is weird how you have like who's the fairest of them all, and you have like Gal Gadot against Snow White, and because it's like she's like Gal Gadot's like a literal model.
Yeah, they tried to uglify her a little bit. Like,
Yeah,
not uglify her, but like
I think that
evil-ify her.
I think that the hag effect. I don't even know if that was like CG or like makeup. But the fact that I don't even know, I think that her old lady version looked pretty good.
Yeah, this movie is the strongest when it is directly adapting something from the original. All of the extra. You want to get into spoilers at this point?
Yeah, at this point, yeah, we're
Yeah.
rolling through it.
Yeah, spoiler
Right
alert.
there.
3, 2, 1. All the stuff with the bandits. Toss it in the bin for me. None of it really worked.
Yeah, I mean, it just
Anytime they cut, and even like the color grading they had from when she was in the forest, and I get why you kind of want to show that like the difference between the forest and the difference between like this evil like world where like happiness is like disappeared. But like it's just not fun to look at, and like a lot of the musical numbers too. I just felt like were
very
uninspired,
forgettable.
very forgettable. Like all the musical numbers were uninspired. Besides, again, the ones that included the dwarves that were from the original.
Mm-hmm. The other funny thing too is when you mentioned like how like the contrast between the city and the forest, because the city's really colorful at the beginning. Everyone's wearing colorful clothes, and the evil queen takes over, and then I just like how like it starts off looking really colorful, then it just looks like a Marvel movie.
Yeah, very quickly. And I thought like right at the beginning, like, oh, okay, this looks fun. Like, and then it kind of it switched the way it switched, and then by the end of I think it was Waiting on a Wish was Snow White's big. It's like the Speechless from Aladdin, the live action Aladdin. Like, I feel like all these songs always fall into the same category. But
yeah,
when that was happening, like it was good singing, it was a powerful performance, but I'm like everything behind the lens is just so fucking is falling so flat for me. It just looks so uninspired. And that moment needed to be a really powerful moment, and I think the lack of creativity in scenes like that really keep this movie from really just seeming so unnecessary.
Yeah, and there's other. I don't know where else I'm gonna fit this in, but I was just thinking during the Gal Gadot song, the villain, because the evil queen gets a villain song in this movie.
You gotta have.
She pretty much wears like a version of like the dress that's almost like pretty much the version of the villain dress in the original.
Yeah,
and it looks really good.
but
that's the only time she wears it in the whole movie, and I that's like a gripe I have with like. That happens in like Marvel movies a lot like that. That was a gripe I had with like Thor. Like Thor had like 3 costumes in like Thor 4.
Mm-hmm.
And he has like 2 really sick ones. Like he has like that like 80s rocker one.
Yeah.
Then he has like the armor, like the Viking armor with like the cape, like the fur cape, but then he has that fuck ass blue and gold one for the whole movie.
Yeah.
That's how I felt with like Gal Gadot. Like she had like that shit on her and her.
Mm-hmm.
See, cuz she had like this like her crown had like the stain. She had like a stained glass crown, and it was really cool. Like I'm like I wish that was just the outfit for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, some of the production design and the costumes were great. Like I thought Snow White's iconic dress, I thought it looked fantastic, and I got not choked up obviously, but when she first kind of like bursts onto the scene with that dress, I was like, fuck yeah, Snow White.
I think it's kind of funny though how she just like. They didn't really show, because the whole thing is that the huntsman takes her out to get apples, and then it's like she has like this frumpy dress, and like you're like, oh, when she's gonna get the dress? Oh no, she just has her signature dress, I guess, for picking apples.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
You don't have an apple picking dress?
Listen, we don't get into personal stuff here
That's
on this
fine.
podcast,
No,
Pat.
I'm just I have an apple picking dress. Em, do you have an apple picking dress?
No.
She doesn't, but she will after this, I'm sure.
So do I. Get on my level. You
Speaking,
can borrow it.
it's fantastic. It brings out your ass. Speaking
Then
of,
why'd you ask if you? Never mind. We're not gonna get into why you're watching me picking apples in my dress.
dude, you're so like extra like frolicking, like you just do it right outside like the window. It's distracting.
Yeah.
Trying to have my morning coffee, you're just like all the deer are talking to you and the squirrels and the chipmunks, and you're just hitting the gritty all over.
Doing the crip walk like Gandalf in Fellowship. That's a thing though. You pointed that out. Like, why if you rewatch Fellowship, it looks like Gandalf does a crip walk during like The Hobbit. During like,
He 100% does. Like,
yeah.
instantly when I saw that part, is that just an extended only part or is that
No, it was in like that.
Okay.
That was at the when we saw that at the concert.
at the
thing.
concert? Yeah,
It's Gandalf crip walking.
I think about that. Like when I saw that, I instantly just heard like "Not Like Us" like playing in my
Yeah.
head. Just like, dude.
Yeah, I liked the Jonathan character because I mean the prince or whatever was a pretty nothing character in the original, and it's like I'm glad they gave him like some personality and like I think that I'm glad they built up the romance and like it's like
This might be.
does it build was the payoff like worth it? But no, I think their chemistry was good and it made it a lot of that stuff palatable for me.
This may be like kind of blasphemy, but was Prince Charming Snow White or Sleeping Beauty?
Prince Charming.
Or was that no? That was Cinderella.
Cinderella, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I don't remember. Was the love interest in Snow White like the original? Did it say prince or?
So that's the thing. Yeah, he was a prince. She like the whole thing with her being.
She was a nobody, right?
Yeah, she was like a nobody. As
Yeah.
far as again, I haven't seen, and I really wish I watched the original before this,
Mhm.
before even just to compare. But I think she was just like
Yeah.
a girl. Like the evil queen was just. She was just the queen ruling over the kingdom, and then there was. But like the evil queen wasn't related to the prince in the original, but he was like a prince from like another.
Yeah, he was from another kingdom, right?
That okay. Speaking of like another kingdom, that's the stuff I didn't really like about the plot. Like, because there's like this like, oh, there's like this mystery, like what happened to her father, and then it's like, oh, he got killed off screen, and I didn't even like, which apparently she like originally told her during like when she feeds her the poison apple, but I didn't even pick up on that.
Yeah,
And then like when
I didn't pick up on that either.
but then at the end when like
Yeah,
when Snow White's like, oh, she killed my dad. Like, oh, I mean, I kind of figured he got killed by the queen.
very anticlimactic because just the setup of this movie is weird, and here's why. So she flees into the forest after the huntsman lets her go, and I think he alludes to she did something to her dad, right? So she hears that, runs into the forest, hangs out with the dwarves for a little bit. They crip walk, they gritty. It's a great time.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's awesome. Everybody's having a great time. And then she goes, I need to leave now. I need to find out what happened to my father. And the dwarves are like, oh, no, don't go. Like, we're having such a great time. She's like, no, I got to go find out what happened to my father. She isn't in the woods for 5 minutes, runs into Jonathan. They have some adventures, blah, blah, blah. They end up back at the dwarves' cabin. Jonathan gets healed from the crossbow, and then they have almost the exact same scene of Snow White saying goodbye to the dwarves and going, I need to find out what happened to my father.
Yeah.
And at that point, I said, like, from the first time he said that to now, like 25 minutes have passed.
Yeah.
And we are at the same exact spot.
Yeah, it's the pacing. I mean, as this movie went on, I'm like, all right, we can wrap up here.
It's not even just this pacing, just the plot. Like so many times I'm like, what are we doing here? Like we're
Especially like the beginning,
Eating our
even
tail.
the initial setup with like a lot of the exposition,
yeah.
like all the song stuff, like the mom the mom got sick and died,
Yep.
and the king went off to war and died, and then he also like, I also thought it was gonna be revealed that like the queen like put a spell on him, but like there
Nothing like
wasn't. I guess
that.
they just kind of like skimmed past that. Like, oh, a new lady came in and he fell in love with her.
Yeah.
Also, they didn't really explain at all, like, like the idea of like why would you give poison? Why would you poison someone with a poison that has like a loophole
Just
of
kill
like
her.
if you kiss someone,
Yeah.
like this poison will kill this person unless your true love kisses you.
Yeah. Just kill her. You just killed
kill
her.
her.
You just killed her dad. Apparently, why can't you just kill her?
How did you just kill the dad?
Yeah, you just killed the dad. Why can't you just kill her
You're
too?
a fucking sorceress or whatever. Like
You're Gal Gadot.
you're Gal Gadot.
Yeah. And I think, and this is like nitpicky at this point, but there's something more powerful about she was just the fairest in all the land. She wasn't a princess or anything. She was just this regular woman who was just exceptionally kind and beautiful
Yeah.
on the inside and the
Yeah.
outside. I think that's more powerful than, oh, she's a princess and hence
Oh, you know,
why she's.
actually, the one thing I don't mind actually making her a princess because I actually like. I don't hate the whole ending. I actually really like the point where like she's on the bridge with all the people and then all the soldiers, and then she says like, then she starts calling out the names of all the guards and saying that like they used to be farmers and like how she knew all of them, and then she uses like her empathy to win people over. And I think that was really nice. And because the one thing I really didn't want him to do is for like her to like pick up a sword and start like fighting people. Like she still used her empathy and was like,
She used what made her work. Like
Yeah.
what makes her special is her empathy and her kindness.
because for what it's worth, the original was Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, and the Seven Dwarves had a lot more to do, especially in the ending. The ending's very different, particularly how the queen dies.
Mhm.
Because like the dwarves save Snow White, they kill the queen, but like in this one, in this one Snow White kind of just turns everyone against the queen, and then
Yeah.
the queen throws.
She
a hissy
throws,
fit.
yeah,
The
breaks
queen
the
throws
mirror.
which I guess I kind of like. That seemed like a bit like weird how they just kind of let her go back into the castle,
Yeah.
even though the dwarves are clearly in her way. They just let her walk by.
Yeah, I was wondering why even have what were the dwarves doing there? Like
The
what's
editing
point?
the editing in the movie is pretty bad.
Yeah.
If you once you start to think about it, and like people just like, oh, the queen needs to end up here and then break the mirror, and I liked the mirror like just killing her and like taking her to the fucking
I
dark
don't know if
dimension.
that's an editing issue more than just a writing issue. Like, oh, the dwarves are behind her and she's surrounded, but then she runs past them anyways. And oh, she says the husband went away on a war and nobody ever really questioned it, but like she ended up killing him. But then why did she kill Snow White? Like it just a lot of things just in this movie just felt so like muddled and like pieced
Yeah.
together. It didn't feel coherent at all. And I think that's the biggest gripe I have with it. Like it just none of it felt coherent.
Yeah, you know, even though I did say I do like the romance and I like the change with the Jonathan character, I'm also like, this really reminds me of Tangled. Because think about it, the queen, like the queen's concerned about the lead's beauty. She goes into the woods and then finds like a ruffian,
Right.
I mean, Jonathan's like Flynn Rider pretty much.
100%, yeah.
Which I'm like
Hashtag princess problems.
hashtag princess problems. Like, yeah, I didn't hate that song, but and that's I like, and I like that's why I just like that actor. I thought he made it.
Yeah, I think
Palatable.
as far as the new songs go, I think Princess Problems is probably and then they had a really great long take during that scene
Yeah,
that required a lot of like precise movement and timing.
yeah,
and I thought they
he
killed
had
it.
good. Yeah, he did. Yeah, I really like whoever that actor is.
Yeah, he's good. I bet he does more. I got to look it up, but like I'd be willing to place money that he does more like stage plays.
For sure. And then again, that did make the whole kiss more meaningful. I mean, anything's more meaningful than the original in that department.
Seems a little forced though, didn't it? Like the whole, or not forced, but rushed. That entire romance.
Yeah. As I've said, it was. I would say it's better than the original.
And I'm happy that this movie isn't 2 hours. I think it clocks in at like an hour 45, hour 49. Something,
But maybe there's an
around
argument that you didn't really. I mean, like it's like you didn't really need a lot of development because it's like kind of like an emotional storytelling, like what your emotions want to happen. Like you want like this guy, even though you don't really know him, cares about her and wants to save her.
Yeah, sure. At the end of the day, I don't think this is going to be anybody's favorite Disney anything.
No, I mean, what's your experience with the live action remakes?
I skipped Lion King.
Good. I mean, I didn't see it.
Have they already done a Cinderella? They did a
They
Cinderella.
did.
It was like 2016, right?
Yeah, Cinderella was like the first one, and
Yeah.
and I think a lot of people said it's one of the better ones because it's just like another Cinderella adaptation. Like it wasn't, which is, I mean, because that's
Cinderella's been adapted probably the most.
oh my, yeah, like
out
just
of
yeah.
all
There's
of
so
the
many
classic
Cinderella
Disneys.
adaptations through like literature and like
Yeah.
and movies. I remember we were like reading like some alternative like fairy tale adaptations. Like there's like a Japanese one. I remember was like kind of fucked up.
So it was smart of them to start this experiment with Cinderella.
Yeah, but I mean, it's once you get especially to the Renaissance ones, it's like you can't like that. In the iconography is just so. I mean I get why they keep a lot of these the same just because they want to see these again. It's that cross generational appeal, and like a lot of these make a lot of money.
And that's the thing. And I think some have done a better job of walking that tightrope act of how do we tap into their nostalgia, but also add something new to this story and add our own take to make this seem more than a cash grab. Like there's some creative merit behind this.
Mm-hmm.
I think I remember enjoying Beauty and the Beast, the live action Beauty and the Beast.
That was like, and I had beef with that movie because like Beauty and the Beast might be my favorite Disney movie.
Really?
Yeah, it probably is.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say that.
And that one,
And it's just it didn't
scratch
that was just, I mean, it had the same problem with this one, like just the padding, everything. It's just there's just too much going on.
I remember liking it, but I will say maybe I just enjoyed watching Emma Watson run around Victorian Castle.
I don't think.
Maybe the Harry Potter fanboy in me, just like something about that was like, we're back. We're so fucking back.
I'm kind of like, I don't think Emma Watson was that good in that movie.
Papa.
Oh god.
Do you remember that part?
And her singing wasn't very good either.
No, 100%. It's like worse than Zac Efron's in High School Musical.
He was dubbed.
What's
wasn't
up?
He? Wasn't he dubbed in that movie?
Yeah, dubbed the GOAT.
3 went hard. He went through. Yeah, he did go through that.
Yeah.
Kenny Ortega like boot camp.
I've been like there's always a point in every single High School Musical where he's just so goddamn stressed and he's to power dance it out. And I get it.
There was a video going around where there was like a clip from the Iron Claw. How it's like if you look at Zac Efron, you could just tell that like he has so much more training than everyone else. Also, there's apparently another. This is getting way off topic, but someone else also pointed out that like you could tell Jeremy Allen White wasn't a very good dancer and can't really keep up with them because you could just see by like his rhythm, but also like there's a chair that's like cropping out like and cutting off like his bottom half of his body, probably to like hide the fact of how bad of a dancer he was.
That's you'll enjoy this because you hate him. Mark Ruffalo in 13 Going on 30. There's a scene where everybody does the Thriller dance.
Is he the worst one?
And if you go back and watch it, you can see him mouthing and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and roar like he's going through the steps in his head.
See that? I'll defend Mark Ruffalo here. That I mean, because it's
that's literally what you were just like.
No, I'm gonna
insulting.
defend. This was 2 weeks ago. But again, I give credit where credit is due.
No, not
I mean, wasn't he like a dork? Because it was early 2000s like rom-com, so he was probably a dorky guy. I presume,
I don't
right?
think he was. I don't think that was like a purposeful thing. It's not like the director was like.
Was he not a dork? It was an early 2000 rom-com. Was he not the dorky lead?
Yes, but like
is that not what a dorky lead would do?
Yeah, but like that's getting super meta. That's saying
is it?
So you're saying his character was
dorky,
counting out the
'cause
steps. It wasn't actually him. Mark Ruffalo could hit the Thriller dance like totally fine.
Maybe it's both.
No, then that's just a cop out.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, the thing is, like I'm defending him. You know what the best part of this is? If I'm wrong, then Mark Ruffalo's still a bad actor, and I'm validated in that. But if I'm right, then I'm like, all right.
You're
he's not,
passing an olive
he's not
branch to an
terrible.
enemy.
It's just I don't know. I personally am not.
You have switched so fast on. I thought we were gonna have a moment of like solidarity where we're like, yeah, Mark Ruffalo fucked up.
I don't hate Mark Ruffalo. He just doesn't. I just don't. When I see him, like, oh, okay, Mark Ruffalo's in this. Okay,
I don't
I will
know.
not be excited.
He was.
I am not sad.
He was the rom. Oh, we've gone so far off topics. Is there anything? Is there anything you want to add about Snow White before we wrap up here?
Like, do you recommend this? Or, like, who do you recommend? Like, because I really don't. Is it bad?
Yes. I'm going to say definitively I think this is bad because of the points that I made.
Yeah.
The plot is non-existent. There are so many musical numbers that are just so uninspired that and you know what, especially now I'm trying to like I thought who I would recommend this to, and the first thing was like, oh, young children. But if I was recommending this, I would say 10 times out of 10 go watch Wicked. It scratches the same itch, and it's done way better than this. So I'm gonna say, yeah, I'm not a fan of this one.
I would probably go, thumbs down.
Yeah.
As well.
If you had to make an onomatopoeia.
Yeah, I mean, it's just another one of these live action remakes, and
you know what you're getting with these.
You know what you're getting.
They're
it's
not
not the
worst.
It's not the worst thing you ever seen. People think this is going to be the worst movie of the year. It is not.
No,
it definitely is not. And honestly, if this is the worst movie I've seen all year, I'd be really happy with that. I don't know about you.
Yeah, this is the worst I've seen this year, but that's not to say that there weren't some things about it that I liked. There were. I think everything with the dwarves in the house were really good. All the original songs were good. I thought the two main leads were formidable in what they were doing.
Even Gal?
No, not Gal. I was Jonathan and and Snow White. I thought they did fine. Gal was silly. All the new songs.
Gal made it kind of bad.
Yeah.
Gal was bad.
Yeah. So it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it was just plagued with problems and issues at the beginning. And I can't say that if you're a hardcore Snow White fan, I still don't think you would really. I feel like you would have a lot of issues with it.
I mean, you'll find stuff. There's glimmers of stuff that are like good. Like there are some choices made, like making her an actual princess. I think does have some payoff in the end. And again, I like Jonathan. I like the romance. Like
I really enjoyed. There was a moment she had with Dopey, and I really enjoyed that moment too.
I'll say I like how it was revealed in the end. How he was the narrator.
Yeah,
I like that. I actually thought that was really sweet.
Yeah. Okay, I dumped on this enough. I think what the stuff they did with Dopey was actually kind of dope.
Huh. But the thing is, at the expense of like, I remember the one thing I really liked about the original is like Grumpy really got more of like a redemptive arc in the end. Like he became really like ride or die at the end.
But it was kind of the same thing.
I mean,
wasn't he crying when he thought Snow White died?
I mean, he was, but it wasn't as like I just remember like Grumpy stuck out to me in the original.
Yeah.
As like the fact that she won him over and like he showed that he had a heart. I remember that was the thing that stuck out to me. Whereas in this one, I'm like, it never really had that moment.
Yeah, but I thought still kind of they did some cool stuff with Grumpy. Because she realized why he was upset and she was
and I think some of the of course the original's better. Of course it's bloated, but there's stuff to like in here.
Yeah. Yeah. There isn't all bad. I think I like the stuff with Dopey. I thought was pretty good. All the original songs, everything that had to do with the original that was really sticking to it, I thought kind of nailed the landing. Everything that they had to add just seemed so freaking generic, and unfortunately, that makes up probably about 60 to 70% of the runtime. So,
yeah,
I am gonna give this a. I'm
gonna give it a.
I was trying to whistle during that scene.
I would do it again, but I don't really care enough to do that.
That's fair. Also, you didn't.
It's not like a boom. It's just kind of drown. It's just kind of a whistle till it draws off, and I just
Yeah, I think you
stop.
have to like droll off, and then have like a to like jolt people back awake, and then they realize nothing else is gonna happen for a while, and then it like drolls off.
Yeah.
I don't know what we have next week, but we will be back next week.
Yeah. Is it Working Man?
It is Working Man. Let's go.
I'm excited for that because I liked The Beekeeper. Did you see The Beekeeper?
Believe it or not, I did not see The Beekeeper.
I liked The Beekeeper.
I guess we'll see.
I feel like I will also like Working Man.
I haven't seen a good Jason Statham action movie in a while, so I'm hoping that I'm going to enjoy it. I'm looking forward to it.
I hope it's as good as Novocaine. That's what I hope it is.
Yeah. If it brings it like Novocaine brought it, we'll be in for a
I have a feeling it won't
be.
I have a feeling it'll lean more on the generic side, but
probably.
Yeah.
But hey, maybe they got a director that really wanted to put his ass into it. So
yeah.
We'll
I hope
see.
I'm wrong.
Yeah. I guess we'll find out. Until next time, I've been Pat.
And I've been Brandon.
It's been the Two Takes Podcast. See you guys next time.